Hey everyone, welcome back to Shitcoin Daily. Today we're going to be talking about staking and why the crypto world seems to be moving over to proof of staking and what is it. Also, if this is your first time here, please do us a huge favor, hit the subscribe button, notification bell, and leave a comment down below of what shitcoin you want us to review or what questions you have in the crypto world. So the first thing I want to state is that how I mentioned the crypto world is moving over to proof of stake instead of proof of work. And this has became very much brought to the forefront because of Elon Musk with his tweets saying, mining's not energy efficient and staking attempts to solve this. Now, another problem that people had with staking, or I'm sorry, with mining was that cryptocurrency is supposed to be this decentralized platform. Staking also improves on that, and you can see this if you look at the graphs of what countries dominate the mining for Bitcoin. And if you look at it, literally China, and I know everyone, like, if you haven't known this, that you know it now. China dominated over 70, almost 80% of the mining in the entire world. And as you see the graph drops, of course, this is because China's ban on mining and all the stuff that they're anti-crypto, so they're moving elsewhere. Then comes the United States, Russia, Malaysia. Like they're nowhere near like the power in terms of China when it comes to the power that China has over the Bitcoin mining. And this is why everyone gets concerned about how China's manipulating the market with crypto. So we'll get into proof of stake first, and then we'll guide into how that transitioned from proof of work. So Ape is going to guide us through explaining proof of stake.
Okay, so proof of stake means that, they're gonna pick one node or one person to handle the transactions. So usually when people mine, they have a pool, right? And then you want to empty it out, and then whoever first one to empty it out, congratulations, you go ahead and get a coin. But when you stake, in other words, this whole thing filled with work, you put in your coin, so that way it fills up some of it. So that way when we get to your part, your coin, your stake, it's like, okay, we already know this because it's a coin. All right, so we skip all this, so you just save people energy and time because again, you filled it up, so where you don't have to do the whole thing, you just do a fraction of it, and then then they actually go into it. Uh, that's pretty much what staking is. Now how they determine who's gonna handle the transaction or the node. Node, by the way, is just another word for computers or whoever's gonna be handling the transactions. So pretty much they do it by how much you're putting for staking, how long you're gonna do it for, and then on top of that they have an random number generator. So the reason why is because the more you have it staked, more coins, let's say like 5 Ethereum or whatever, and I say I'll put it for a year, is that they're like, okay, this guy is serious. He's putting a lot of money and he's committed for a long time. The thing is about staking is once you stake it and once you make the commitment, I want to do it for a year, you're locked. That's it. Like you can't take it out, even if you're like, oh man, Ethereum is falling. I gotta sell. I want my money now. Sorry, no, can do. You're gonna have to wait. So that's why they determine on who's gonna handle the transaction for the coin, depending on those factors, and to prevent a giant whale with 1,000 computer dominating that and always getting all the free money, they're gonna go ahead and say, okay, we're gonna have a random number generator. The thing about staking though is that the downside is, like we said, you're locked. If the coin falls, you can't really sell. On top of that, if you are handling a transaction or if you're doing, remember the pool. If you're trying to solve this pool, and you get it wrong, they're like, okay, since you wasted everyone's time and you got it wrong, we're gonna take away one of your coin and we give it to the other people who are compensated. So instead of having 3 Ethereum, now I'm down to two. So you could theoretically lose your money. The workaround about it is that you have sites like Coinbase or other people where you could go ahead and tell them, hey, look, Coinbase, I'll stake my coin, and normally Ethereum gives you like, let's say, 6% an annual. Coinbase is like, okay, I'll do the staking, I'll do all the paperwork. Don't worry about it. I'll handle it all. But we're gonna take away a 1% commission off of it. So that's what pretty much some of these platform offer. on depending on the coin as well.
And it's not only Coinbase, but there's these other platforms that will handle and kind of do all the same work that Abe mentioned for you. These are just different platforms to do it on. I mean, you got Binance, Kraken, Crypto.com, things that we talked about before on the channel.
Yeah, so the thing is that with again staking and getting something wrong, it's just how the computer validates it. So if you do get it wrong, it's not like you're going to lose an entire Ethereum, you're going to lose a portion. So that there is that downside, and I would consider or compare staking to like bonds, buying bonds. I mean, in terms of crypto, it's a decent return on your money, better than any bank, but you do suffer the volatility that you're going to deal with in crypto with no option. So if we enter a long-term bear market, you're like, oh, let me liquidate because it's clear we're going into a bear market, and Ethereum might go to like $500. Well, you're screwed if you decided to stake, for an entire year. That's what you're gonna do. So um, it just depends, how you feel about it. If you're okay with those swings, then go for it. I do think staking is better because it decentralizes crypto further, because it with the validators it prevents what we see, or what I just showed you on that chart with China dominating Bitcoin mining. This is what they're trying to prevent, and it's also more energy efficient. So I think staking is a good step forward. I do think it's going to develop, like we've seen taxed coins now like to handle auto staking liquidity pools and all that stuff. So it's evolving into many different things, but I think it's a step in the right direction.
Yeah, I would agree. The staking is a lot more efficient and a lot more eco-friendly than the traditional mining methods.
Yeah. So now we're gonna show you. Ninja's gonna show you why what was mining, and I think it'd be pretty clear picture on why I mean, staking came to be.
So mining is a very crude but rudimentary way of deconstructing a blockchain. And for those of you who don't know what a blockchain is, just think of it as a ledger. You got all these transactions that aren't sanctioned by a centralized area like a bank or a government, but they you got someone's computer or a miner that is throwing these numbers out. They're called hashes to process each transaction in the ledger. And once the ledger is complete, the block is complete, and then the say for example, we'll use Bitcoin. Each block contains 3 Bitcoin. Once the block is complete, the Bitcoin is divided up depending on the total hash power given by an individual. So say I gave 70% of the total hash power in that block, I get 70% of the distributed coins. And it's always going to be dependent on your hash power. That's why you see a real shortage of graphics card units, actual things called ant miners, which are for mining on the Bitcoin chain, because those have the highest hash power. If you look up a hash, it's very small. That's why when you look up how many hashes it takes to deconstruct or a Bitcoin chain, it's like a couple quadrillion, or it may have even gone higher with every 3 years they increase it to kind of keep the mining valid.
So
I
there's
mean,
two factors here. Quickly, there's two factors here that cause a problem when it comes to Bitcoin mining. Is just making it worse and worse. With every Bitcoin that's mined, the difficulty gets harder. And again, there's the halvening, which also your rewards get smaller. But not only that, not only is the difficulty getting harder, but you have these miners that dominate the field, again, China, and they're putting so much power in that it's now taking more power for you to even keep up and earn the same rewards that you would have 5 years ago. So it's become a huge issue per se, and that's why a lot of people want to move away from Bitcoin per se. These Ethereum fans, I mean, Ethereum has its own faults. We all seen the gas fees, but that's exactly it. This is why proof of stake became a thing, because it's just become it's an uncompetitive field. If I wanted to get in and put my computer to mine, I mean, I'm gonna get like a couple cents. Like,
yeah.
even if I put like my full effort, these is like putting a supercomputer. against like the first computer ever came. Like that's pretty much like the gap. It's huge. So it's become a huge problem.
Yeah.
So
Go ahead.
don't think of this as like, oh, we need a mine. It's just this is mining was just pretty much a method on preventing outside manipulation to an extent of you have to put a lot of time and energy, at least with Bitcoin. That's why they did it, so that way it prevents people from saying, oh no, I have a Bitcoin and I spend it here, and then I go ahead and spend it also somewhere else. But like, again, it's just a fail safe way of like reducing manipulation on the coin and the market.
Yeah, and like we said earlier, it's very expensive in electricity costs. Like I used to mine with just my gaming PC, and I had a 1080 Ti, and I and this is when Ethereum was at like $600. I eventually mined up like 5 Ethereum, but I don't even remember the wallet address at this point. But that took like 2 years of mining to even just get that. And back then it wasn't much.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then you also have to determine your electricity costs. Are you going to make
Yeah.
money? So, again, the more you're going to put out in terms of power, the more you're going to get a reward because the bigger piece of the block you're going to get. But are you going like is it enough? Is your computer enough power to break even? At least like most people it's not. Most people don't even break even. It's again
Yeah.
these centralized miners.
And it'll come down to where you live and
That
what
too.
type of electricity you're really running off of. Like, are you running off of a city's power grid? Like, usually it's more expensive. But if you live near big rivers or lakes, usually it's hydro, which is very, very cheap. Or you live out in California with the solar farms or a wind farm, you'll get a lot of reduced costs there. But again, still bringing in a lot of electricity just doing that.
And the thing is also as well, there's very popular. A lot of people are moving to colder places, places where it's cold most of the year, and the electricity is cheap because this way they don't have to worry about cooling the PCs. They're cooled through the temperature around it. So this is something that's been gaining popularity. And it's become a little more efficient per se, but it doesn't change the fact that mining is just brute force, and people are like, like, all right, I'm gonna put out like it's kind of like you're playing a game and you're like, all right, I'm gonna use everything, like just for that one thing. Like you don't care what it costs, you're just gonna do it because it brings a benefit to you. So that's what mining is. It's all brute force and it comes costly at the cost of energy and the waste of it. So again, another reason why everyone's moving or attempting to move to proof of stake. And we've seen the auto liquidity staking with the tax coins, and the idea is being played around with as of now. But I think crypto will end up being proof of stake or a new version of it.
Yeah, and there's one not really related thing, but there was a case, I'm not gonna say where, that the police department raided a home thinking it was actually a marijuana farm because of the electricity bill, because it matched the same rate that all those UV lights take. So they raided it, and it was actually a Bitcoin mining farm.
Well,
That's
hopefully it's
interesting.
not. Hopefully it's not illegal wherever he's at.
Well, I guess that's an easy way if they want to track the people in China. That kind of makes sense. It's like, oh, let's see who's using up a crap ton of electricity, and it's
Well, right
over.
now the world, or at least especially in China, they have an energy crunch right now. So,
Yeah. And that
And I
wouldn't even be
also
hard to see from space. I mean, you could use thermal imaging and be like, okay, that's a plant, that's a plant.
Yeah, and there's also I think it was Malaysia that they were cracking down on the mining, and they pretty much confiscated mining rigs in warehouses and were running them over with a steamroller. It was like countries are just like not liking it. So if the world continues to do this and countries continues to do this and governments crack down on mining, it just I mean, proof of stake just seems the clear option that's it's going to, and it just makes you wonder what's going to happen with Bitcoin. Is Bitcoin going to be overtaken by Ethereum? A lot of people seem to think so, and if the world continues to push this way, then I mean, it's a possibility.
Yeah, and like I said before, Ethereum has a mining process, but they have Ethereum 1.0, which is the mining one, and Ethereum 2.0, which is proof of stake. They are going to merge those two in the next couple of years to make it just proof of stake.
Yeah, so I think that's pretty much it. If you have any questions on proof of stake, proof of work, let us know down in the comments below. If you want to learn anything else on the crypto world, leave a comment down below. Don't forget to like, subscribe. Thank you for the people who have been subscribing and returning here. And that's pretty much it for this video. Appreciate it. And we'll see everyone tomorrow with our new shitcoin. Our schedule is going to be Monday, Wednesday, Friday for shitcoins, and Tuesdays and Thursdays for more informational videos. So if you want to learn anything, just let us know down below.
All right, guys.
All right.
Peace.